Hi guys, Sci-Fi recapped here. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Inspired by the real 2014 armed conflict between Russia and Ukraine in the Donbass region, today, we're gonna tell you a very unique story about an ordinary teacher who suddenly becomes the most lethal sniper in the world just by utilizing his knowledge in physics. Mykola, a physics teacher, lives an eccentric countryside life with his pregnant wife, Nastya, in the Donbass region of Ukraine. He goes to school and watches the news that the Crimea region is captured, and Russians deploy snipers to Ukrainian lands. Meanwhile, at home, Nastya creates woodcrafts, a small wooden amulet depicting an angel. While Mykola teaches, a class bully, Ivan, spits a piece of paper and disrupts the class, although Mykola can take control of the situation. After the lesson, Ivan tells Mykola that he is an outsider due to his eccentric upbringing. Mykola turns out to be an academically gifted person. He has multiple degrees including an ecologist. He chooses to stay in an eccentric cabin in the Donbass region with his wife so they would not disturb the environment. They are covered by a TV program, but the host seems uncomfortable with their eccentric lifestyle and becomes reluctant, despite Mykola's enthusiasm to show her his house. After the host and her cameraman leave the house, the couple continues with their lives. They bathe outside, under the moonlight. Nastya then gives him her wooden amulet, which she dubs Little Angel and hopes that it can protect her husband. At the same time, a convoy of Russian militants crosses the Ukrainian border near their house. The next day, Mykola goes to school as usual but finds it closed because Russian forces have reached the region. Along the way to school, he bumps into two armed Russian men. The men turn out to stop by his house and accuse his wife as a spy, as she appears to be eccentric and wears natural face paints. They torture the couple and burn their houses. As Nastya rises to hit them with a rock, they shoot her to death. They quickly get in their vehicle and drive away while Mykola mourns his beloved wife. After his house is completely burned, two local men come by and check his identity. After being confirmed that he is a local, they help him bury his wife and take him to their base. Arriving at the base, Mykola is kept inside the car while his rescuers are scolded for bringing a possible spy to the base camp. However, the chief wants to train Mykola after he learns that Mykola is determined to drive away Russian militants from his land. He trains hard with the camp and eventually masters how to disassemble and assemble an AK gun. He wants to be called Raven, inspired by his wife's philosophy that a raven creates life on Earth, but his captain tells him that call sign must be earned. One day, local soldiers offer sniper courses, so the camp sends some volunteers. Mykola demonstrates his ability to deal with an AK gun, blindfolded, which attracts the attention of two soldiers. They enlist him to join the course along with Bad, Klim, and Dunay. However, he is given an SKS rifle, unlike everyone else who gets SVD. He tries to question the decision but is left unanswered. He excels in his training but finds it impossible to shoot with his rifle. However, his captain says that it is the sniper who matters, not the gun. As snipers must calculate distance quickly in their head, he excels as he is a former physics teacher. At the last exam, he waits patiently until the smoke fades and gets a clear vision, then fires a shot. He gets 3 points, the highest of his friends, and graduates with a first-class degree. There's no time to rest. Mykola begins his first mission, which is to recapture a bridge. As they aim for their targets, two civilians approach the bridge and are harassed by the Russian forces. They silently execute the shot, bringing down several of the Russians, but one of them holds the civilian hostage. After an intense moment, the surviving Russian is also shot, and they reoccupy the bridge. After the mission, Mykola returns to the base and he then makes a quick observation, eventually realizing that the base was previously a school building. He always reminisces about his little angel during his rest time at the base. Meanwhile, Dunay and Klim are deployed to a mission in sand dunes. The mission is difficult as they are head-to-head with Russian snipers, which are also difficult to spot in the dunes. Klim is shot dead. His body is brought back to camp where his friends mourn for him. Ukrainian forces want to reoccupy a trench at the zero line for the next mission. They set grenades between the trees and wait until Russian soldiers cross the tree line, so they can fire the trigger from afar and decimate the Russians. Mykola realizes Ivan is among the Russian soldiers. The captain tells him that both he and Ivan made their choices. They then go to the Russian shelter, finding Ivan's family photograph. It inspires them to talk about each of their families and personal life. Captain's children only know that their father is gone on a business trip. Meanwhile, Russian soldiers mobilize further deep into Ukrainian grounds. One of them is a renowned Russian sniper. They mobilize using a convoy of camouflaged vehicles. As Mykola and Captain take their position near the trench, they spot a camouflaged Russian car and two militants nearby. Mykola recognizes them as his wife's killers. Driven by rage, he repeatedly asks for permission to shoot, but the captain denies it. However, he goes against the order and shoots one of the militants, but the other one escapes, hides behind the car, and informs the Russian sniper of their location. The captain is shot dead. Mykola carries his dead body, crawling to safety, and drives him back to the base. At the base, while mourning for his captain, Mykola is instructed to deal with the sniper responsible for his death. They will look into this sniper further. He then goes for another mission, single-handedly defeating 2 Russian snipers stationed in an abandoned warehouse, but he also gets shot in the arm by one of the snipers. While he bathes, his chief contacts him to inform him that the Russian sniper has fired on 2 Ukrainian scouts. He has to get ready for a meeting for more details on the location and mission objective. The meeting is held at his old sniper training camp. They receive information from intelligence that a Russian sniper codenamed Scifi was responsible for Captain's murder along with other Ukrainian soldiers. He publishes murder videos, showing his victims to demoralize Ukrainians in this war. He is currently stationed with a group of observers near a chlorine plant. A missed shot by the Ukrainians would result in the explosion of pressurized chlorines, causing an environmental disaster. Their ambush has to be discreet, well planned and carefully executed. The other snipers are tasked to neutralize the Russian observers and Scifi's subordinates, clearing the way for Mykola to get into the factory and directly face Scifi. They prepare for the mission and get ready at their positions. The Ukrainian snipers are stationed on high ground not far from the chlorine plant as they observe and acquire their targets. As they eliminate the Russian soldiers, Mykola makes his way inside the factory, then spots Scifi's second-in-command stationed at the stairwell. As Scifi calls for his soldiers and they do not respond as they are already dead, he becomes alerted and calls his second-in-command to meet with him upstairs. Mykola secretly follows him, placing a grenade at the stairwell, and hides somewhere at the chlorine plant. Scifi discovers that his sniper on the rooftop has been shot, then he deduces that Ukrainian snipers are nearby. He calls for backup. A backup team will retrieve him in 10 minutes, so he has to hold his ground first. He goes back inside the plant and assembles his rifle, then notices Mykola's amulet nearby. Suddenly, Mykola jumps from behind and stabs him with a knife until he dies from losing too much blood. As for his second-in-command, it is too late when he realizes there is a grenade at the stairwell, and it blows. The mission is successful. However, the Russian backup troops arrive, but the Ukrainian snipers get the high ground and can neutralize the Russians. Mykola helps by assassinating them from inside the chlorine plant. They all go home in one piece and are ready to take on more missions. Sometime later, Mykola visits his old, now abandoned house, and visits his wife's grave. He repairs her tomb and then continues his life as a sniper who is also a pacifist. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.